are live.
Good morning, everybody. This is the June 23rd, 2022 Coastal Permit Administrator hearing. The Mendocino County Coastal Permit Administrator meetings will be conducted virtually and not available for in-person public participation. The provisions of Government Code Section 54953 and the recommendation of the Mendocino County Health Officer. Meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube page. So I'm calling the meeting to order at 10 a.m. May I please get a determination of noticing?
All items on the agenda were properly noticed.
Thank you. So that moves us to the regular calendar. And our first case is CDP 2020-0023. Owner is David Sevio. Applicant is Lori Zhang. Agent is Howard Curtis Architect. The request is a coastal development permit request to complete construction of a single-family residence and ancillary uses within 50 feet of a surveyed Bishop Pine Forest, Isha, and where previous authorization lapsed without vesting. This project has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA. The project is located within the coastal zone 5.9 miles plus or minus south of the town of Point Arena and 0.2 plus minus miles east of State Route 1, located at 30,735 South Highway 1 in Guala. Assessor's parcel number 142052-07. May I please get a staff report?
Hello, this is Juliana Cherry, and I'd like to mention that the host needs to provide for me to share video. My video is stopped, but I'm happy while we're making that adjustment to begin my presentation. This is a project down on the South Coast, a single family home.
Sorry.
Okay, let's try my
Sorry
video
about
again. Okay, it looks like my video is working now. All right. Technical challenges aside, this is a single family home that the original property owner is applying for a coastal development permit. They had previously obtained a commission issued waiver to construct a single family home, but time passed and they did not complete the construction of the home. Things changed, and they're now seeking to respond to a code violation and complete the construction of their home. They're so eager to complete the project because they really see it as a memorial to David Sebo, who has passed away, and they really like to complete the construction of his dream home. Under the Coastal Commission waiver, it is staff's understanding that the project included installation of a well, which has been completed, and a well house has been constructed. Construction of a small storage shed of 180 square feet that has been completed. It's finished. It's a constructed building. The primary residence is definitely under construction. It's currently covered. The roof is completely covered by tarps, and there is the pump house and the 180 square foot shed, the driveway. All of those things are located in the donut hole, the clearing in the middle of the property. And if you'd like, there's in the staff report, aerial image that really shows this well. So the property width is about 100 feet, maybe a little bit more than that. Therefore, all of the development is occurring less than 50 feet from Bishop Pine Forest, which is protected. So staff looked really closely at the current status of things on the property. There's also a trellis that's in disrepair. There is a playhouse on the property of 36 square feet. There is a old 1980 circa 1980 satellite dish that's not connected and stored on the property. These things are all located within the 50-foot ESHA buffer. They do not have permits. And today, if the property owner were to come forward and ask to build these accessory structures like the satellite dish or the 36 square foot playhouse, it's likely that staff would not support construction so close to the sensitive habitat area. So in looking at what some of the conditions are, we are recommending a specified list of items to be included in approval. That's condition 13. A 2-story residence with patio, 100 square foot pump house, 180 square foot storage building, the road approach driveway, and a fence along the road easement, which travels to the north of the property. The property owner would like to create some privacy from the easement and also has experienced people coming onto the property without permission. So a fence and a driveway gate, they're hoping will reduce instances of people coming on the property without permission. It includes item E, a septic tank, pump chamber, leach lines, and a walking path. And all of those would be located in an area that we're recommending be designated as for open space use. The leach lines will be within the 50-foot buffer of the Bishop Pine Forest. And the way that it's written in the botanical survey report is that the leach lines will weave between the trees, but in fact, the leach lines will come up to the trees and go under the canopy, but it's unlikely to extend past the trunk of the trees into the forest. So it will be partially under the canopy of the ESHA, so within the ESHA, just maybe a few feet, but mostly within the 50-foot ESHA buffer. Staff is recommending that proactively the coastal permit administrator include in their approval residential roof mounted solar array. And this is because with today's building code requirements, often property owners choose to install solar panels. And at this site, it is unlikely that staff would support ground mounted solar panels. One water storage tank, and then also allowing open use space types within the buffer and within the ESHA, as well as coastal agricultural use types like light agricultural, row and field crops and tree crops. I'd like to add to this list under condition 13, A through I, I'd like to add an item J. I'd like to recommend that we include a propane tank as well. It's very common that propane tanks are part of residential development, and I request that the coastal permit administrator consider that in their approval.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm looking at the, for example, the roof-mounted solar, and I know that, I guess my question here, and really it's more for the benefit of the applicants, is we're asking that all of these items on the list A through J be included, so that if at some point in time they decide to do the roof-mounted solar or the propane tank and so on, they don't have to come back through the CPA process, correct?
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that they understand that by going through this and capturing all these things, that, you know, a year or 2 or 3 or 4 down the road, they're not being told that they have to come in and modify their CDP just to add roof-mounted solar.
Right. So there, we have another condition which is supported by the Coastal Commission, that any future improvements would require either an amendment or a new CDP. And I believe that is included in condition 12 A. Let me look.
But that would be any improvements outside of these on the list, correct?
Right, exactly. And that's
Okay.
part of the reason for the list, to be generous up front. But if they want to do any other work like repair and maintenance of the structure or repair and maintenance of the driveway, they would need to again come in and amend their CDP and demonstrate that they're not impacting any sensitive coastal resources.
Thank you. I mean, I commend
Yeah.
staff for thinking further out on what could be the possibilities of adding certain things and adding it to the list. And again, sorry to interrupt your presentation.
No, thank you. It does remind me, though, that the applicant is concerned about they have access to their property through a private easement. And there are 4 property owners that enjoy this easement. And the easement connects State Route 1 to these 4 other properties. And Caltrans has asked that with this project, that there be an improvement to the road approach onto State Route 1. And the applicant really doesn't want to carry the entire burden of this improvement on State Route 1. And I can understand that. At the same time, I have seen the condition of that road approach, and it is gravel. It definitely is the kind of road approach that we discourage, because it directly impacts the quality of the asphalt on the public road. So for your consideration, I believe that is the last condition on the list. Condition 25, the property owner shall obtain an approved Caltrans encroachment permit to improve the driveway to meet Caltrans standards. And when I say driveway, I mean the road approach from State Route 1. So that's generally often a 20-foot asphalt surface connecting to State Route 1. A deed restriction is recommended and requested by the Coastal Commission staff to memorialize the extent of the ESHA and the conditions of project approval. And that's under condition 12. And then the applicant proposed many avoidance measures to protect the sensitive habitat on site, and those are covered in condition 18 and following. We also looked extensively at access and available services, not just the road and State Route 1, but also the septic, which I described. The leach fields would be within the ESHA buffer, but also water. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, the property owner installed a well under their Coastal Commission issued waiver and has been using that well ever since. Coastal Commission staff sometimes feels that a proof of water test should be completed. This is, I believe, a 245-foot deep well in a critical water resource area. And at the time that the well was installed, the Fish Brothers did a short test to determine the quantity of water that would come out. And in reviewing all of the information available to staff, we feel that the property owner has demonstrated that they do have more than adequate access to water on the property, and a proof of water test could be completed prior to the issuance of the building permit, but isn't needed prior to the coastal permit administrator taking action today. Water conservation measures in accordance with the Board of Supervisors action under our drought is also included as conditions in project approval. If you have questions, I'm more than available to help. I did notice that both the applicant, Lori Zhang, and her son, Peter Zebo, are participants in the Zoom meeting. So I'm sure you'll want to hear comments from them as well.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
At this point, I will go ahead and hear, I'm gonna ask that the applicants be brought into the meeting, and I'll take any comments from the applicant's side. Mr. Sebo, go right ahead.
I see that Lori Zhang has unmuted herself.
Okay, either one.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Juliana, and to present our project. And I think you described it very well. And I don't have a whole lot to add to it, and except it is our family desire to complete this project, and which is halfway done. And I want to just say for the water, and we've been owning that property since early 80, like 81 or 82 when we first purchased the property. And the well was drilled in the mid 80s. And we've been spending a lot of time there. We never had any water problems. So we just felt, to prove water, the amount of water, the water test is not necessary for us, as we see. So that's pretty much what I want to emphasize, that we do have enough water, more than enough. We never worry about water when we spending time there. And this home is continued as our vacation home, by the way, same amount of usage and as we used to. And I'd be glad to answer if any questions.
Thank you very much. And in the picture, it looks like your dog's really happy.
I don't know how to turn on my camera. He is muted. Yeah, he's one of the residents there too. He will be.
Okay, well, he's going to be happy. Mr. Sebo, do you want to go ahead and add any comments for the record?
I'm actually all good. I'm sort of here just listening in and trying to just get as much information as I possibly can.
All right, well, thank you. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody that wishes to speak on this matter can do so now. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak?
We do not.
Thank you. So with that, I'm going to return it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. Staff, thank you very much for a very detailed staff report and your presentation, and especially the list on condition 13 that attempts to capture as many things as possible so that we don't have an applicant coming and going to try to amend a CDP just to add certain things. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve CDP 2020-0023 pursuant to the findings contained in the staff report, with the modification to condition number 13, adding item J, which includes propane tanks. And with that, your project is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so that moves us to item 3B, which is CDP 2021-0014. Owner applicant is Mendocino Baptist Church. Agent is James Kirby. The request is a standard coastal development permit to renovate the existing lawnmower shed foyer and accessibility ramp, ADA, on the south side, adding awning, storage, and deck, and improve ground surface with compacted crushed rock extending 40 feet beyond the new deck. It's been determined that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA. Project is located within the town of Mendocino, located at 45,171 Little Lake Street within Mendocino. Assessor's parcel number 119-160-11. May I please get a staff report?
Thank you, Permit Administrator. Hello, I am Planner TSR. Today I'm presenting CDP 2021-0014. Just as the CPA mentioned and discussed in the staff report, the proposed project is to improve the Mendocino Baptist Church. The site is located in the town of Mendocino and situated west of State Route 1, but is not designated as a highly scenic area. On May 3rd, 2021, the proposed project was reviewed and approved by Mendocino Historical Review Board. The project site is within Mendocino Public Facility District, as shown on the zoning display map. The church constructed in 1957 is an existing non-conforming use which predates the Coastal Act. The proposed project at the Mendocino Baptist Church is consistent with both the zoning regulations of Mendocino Public Facility and the Mendocino Public Facility Land Use Classification Goals, policies of Coastal Element Chapter 4.13. The existing development predates the Coastal Act. The project is allowed to continue its non-conforming use per Coastal Element Chapter 4.13-5. On June 24th, 2021, a referral was sent to multiple agencies for comments. Please see conditions of approval. Staff recommend approval. This concludes my presentation and I'm available to answer questions. The applicant is also present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and ask the applicant to join in. And Mr. Kirby, do you have any comments that you'd like to make for the record?
No, I don't. Tia has done an excellent job of presenting our situation. We have received the approval by the Historical Review Board and the Building Department to proceed with the deck. The main issue here is the ground upon which goes back 40 feet from the deck. It's just gopher ridden and needs to be stable so that people can actually walk on it and use it.
Darn those gophers in the coastal zone.
Right.
Okay. So yes, thank you. And I've gone ahead and looked at the plans and looked at the diagrams submitted with the CDP. So understand what you're looking at. All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
All right. So with that, I'm going to open up the public hearing and ask if there's any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter.
There are none.
There are none. All right, thank you. So with that said, I'm going to return it back to the CPA, and considering all the evidence provided here, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve the project subject to the findings and conditions contained in the staff report. Mr. Kirby, your project is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, that takes care of the regular calendar. We move to item number 4, which is matters from staff. Do we have any matters from staff?
No matters from staff.
Seeing none, going to matters from the public. Coastal Permitted Administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the Coastal Permit Administrator which are not on the posted agenda and items which have not already been considered by the Coastal Permit Administrator. So this is the time for anybody to speak on this matter.
We have no one present for that.
Seeing none, I go ahead and move to adjourn the meeting at 10:24. All right, thank you.